Time ahead would be radically different, and the world is changing. At a speed, it is changing, it is unbelievable. And what is driving this change? Is it the cloud computing which is driving this change? Or is it the new concept of cryptocurrency, blockchain, which is driving this change? Or artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotic, is that what driving the change? Or there's a requirement to have robots in the market, or there's a requirement to have an automation. What is driving all such of change where not everybody is capable enough of finding incapable to get along with such sort of changes? People are getting left out within the organization, in societies, and at a country level, state level, every level people are getting left out. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, if you look at this continent where we live in, we have so many people. We have seen what happened in the year 2020 till 2022 today. Hello and welcome to another episode of Growth and Development. Here I'm going to talk about what is driving a technological evolution at a speed where it seems to be impossible for a common man to get along. From cash money, we have gone to the plastic money. We now are going completely, virtualized, living in a virtualized environment where we are not seeing the cash. All the transactions are happening in the form of information. So is it the information which is driving the change? Or is it the internet which is becoming more and more reliable day by day? Or is it the smartphone which has become very cost effective? Everybody is capable enough to buy a smartphone. Is it that which is driving this change? Lots of things come into the mind when we talk about a change. Why rapidly changes are happening, and who is getting benefited from these sort of change economically, technically, everything, and who is getting left out? So that is my idea, to bring that to all you, the audiences, people sitting at home, people working from home. And my intention is to ensure that whatever we could do, even a little, to ensure that nobody gets left out. At least I cannot give you a solution. I can give you an idea. I can give you some recommendation which might help you to get along with this sort of changes. Because in last few decades, we have not seen such sort of changes happening. If I start talking about from Web 1.0, which was the internet beginning era, wherein a read-only internet was available in the market. Nobody was interested, nobody was bothered. I myself was not bothered about the internet unless I heard about something called Yahoo Messenger in 2002 when I started doing my graduation. And by 2005, I was crazy about Yahoo Messenger, and I used to go to cafe. That was the era of, that was a value transformation happening between Web 1.0 to Web 2.0. E-commerce industry was rising up. Amazon took a great advantage of that era and flooded the market, with its product all over the world through this internet 2.0, Web 2.0, which I'm talking about. Now we are into a 21st century, 2022, where Web 3.0 taken over. What is Web 3.0 all about? Is it all about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, or is it about decentralization, from centralization to decentralization? Yes, it is about decentralization. But before we get into it, before I talk about, maybe I'll talk more about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and what technology is behind it and what is driving this Bitcoin, and the people are going crazy in the market. And let me give you some background of this information technologies. So as per my understanding, this information the availability of information, how fast the information would be available to you, it is very important. It is very important in all perspective, whether you are a doctor, whether you are an engineer, you need some sort of information. So all sort of businesses, whether they rely on service industry or manufacturing industry, they rely on the information. So how this information coming to you? Through some sources. You have some certain devices, you have a smartphone, you have a computer, you have a laptop. How these things are getting connected together, so that is very important. And what is the underlying technology which is ensuring the information gets delivered on time, with accuracy, with no anomaly, with no changes. So that is very important. The faster the information, accurate will it be. And how the information is getting delivered so fast, it is the internet which has become more reliable after the fiber technology came into existence. There was a time when we used to take it used to uh, it used to be very difficult to watch a video on YouTube because of buffering. And now that buffering has gone. You don't have to download any movie. It's very easy for you to watch it online. You don't get bothered about it. So that sort of change that I'm talking about, and people those who are associated with this industry, the IT industry, they know more about it. There's lots of technological disruptions happening. From the capital expenditure, the enterprises are moving towards the new model which is called OPEX, operational expenditure. Like you pay for the utility bill, like you use the electricity, and on a monthly basis you get a charge, you get a bill, and you pay for it. So what was wrong with the capex? What was wrong with the legacy technologies? Now let me talk about a little bit the technology which works behind connecting your computer to the computer which is sitting in California, There's some sort of WAN protocol, plays an important role. WAN technologies plays an important role. So initially, when I started working, it was leased line, ISDN, all sort of stuff was there in terms of WAN technology, circuit switching, packet switching. Then when I talk about circuit switch, I talk about the asynchronous ISDN line. Then frame relay took over. Then people who are not comfortable with frame relay, then MPLS came into existence. MPLS for a complete 15 years dominated the technical world in terms of WAN connectivity. Why? Because elementary of SLAs, the 99.99% SLAs provided by MPLS. So assurance of and guarantee of the information from one location, from one point to another point. When I talk about the information getting exchanged, it is between source and a destination. Source could be your client computer and the destination server. So that will be I'll be discussing more about it in today's topic. So the information is getting exchanged between client and the server, between source and destination, between two parties, between two entities. All right, so WAN was playing an important role as an MPLS, multi-protocol level switching. And why it played an important role? Because it worked on the basis of level. The level used to get exchanged, not the IP. So that dominated the technical world, the WAN world. And now, all of a sudden, after 2016, MPLS is going to be obsolete, almost obsolete. Not obsolete, it's still reliable. There are enterprises which are still okay to use, and they are very much confident to use MPLS, but it is very costly. So the cost is also driving such changes. People are moving from hassle of doing the maintenance of hardware and software. They're moving towards the cloud. They are migrating their application towards the cloud, and that's where cloud computing comes into the picture. That's why it's very important to understand the concept of cloud computing. I myself have gone for certain cloud certifications, now currently studying the Zscaler part. So Zscaler is another paradigm which is giving reliability to internet. First, reliability is the speed. Second is the assurance of accurate information, how you ensure that your information is intact, unchangeable. So that's where security comes into the picture. That's where Zscaler plays an important role. So all these things together, driving these changes. Cost, the number one, cost management, ease of management. I say management, ease of management. Third one is the speed at which the information gets delivered. Number fourth is provisioning and procurement. Nobody wants to waste time on procurement and purchasing and all that stuff. They want their application to run, you know, on a platform as a services. They don't want to be worried about storage, middleware, and all that stuff. They just be worried about, they have to run the application, the runtime, and all that stuff. So there are different requirements, there are different sort of businesses, there are different enterprises, different requirement they are running different businesses. So if you want to own a partial infrastructure, you go and pay for that. Suppose you want to develop an application, you don't want to get worried or don't want to invest in maintaining the server, storage, networking part. You just pay for for the virtual machine that you're going to own into the cloud, and you develop your own application through infrastructure as a services. You got a choice which type of operating system that you can use, whether you want to use Windows, Linux. So that is a separate topic. The what sort of cloud models are there and what sort of services are available in the cloud market these days. So, but the point is these changes, which is happening and bringing all these new sort of jobs opportunity into the market. But who can grab these opportunities? Those who get themselves updated with the new technologies, go and understand what is cloud computing all about, go and understand what is the new paradigm of networking, the WAN technology, which is working based upon the application approach. SD-WAN, I'm talking about software defined WAN. And software defined WAN is something that came into existence in 2016, just to ensure that some sort of management gets centralized. So from the management perspective, even though you have multiple links as a underlay, you have a choice of using the tunnel, a choice of using the link through which you want to transfer your data on top of the underlay. You built overlay technologies. Overlay tunnel is not new, it's something that was there in the VPN part, IPsec. So this is already there. So you have a flexibility, you have the control of choosing which application requires which type of reliability, so it's all about the transport. The communication is all on the basis of application, and each application has a different requirement. So basis on the requirement, you choose the tunnel, you choose the transport. So that kind of flexibility SD-WAN is giving you. And what flexibility cloud computing giving you is helping you out not to invest, not to waste your time and money in building the infrastructure to run an application. Through infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or even a software as a services, you have a choice what exactly you want. If you just want to use one application and don't want to do any kind of development, you just go for software as a service. But if you want to develop through a certain code, you go for platform as a service. But if you want to have your choice of your operating system and compute capacity, then you go for infrastructure as a services. So all these sort of stuff are there. And now let me talk about this robotic, artificial intelligence, and some sort of automation. Why automation is happening? So I mean, the automation is something that was there earlier also. Through the scripting part, Java language has played an important role. Now the Python is becoming more and more favorable for people, those who are working in the automation industry. Why? The Python is open standard and it is having some sort of precedence over Java. Although Java is still reliable, but because Python is a language which can be easily understood and can be used in different formats, and it's a kind of compiler that we have. It's easy to understand, easy to use, and people those who know the C programming, all that, even in the Bitcoin technology, smart contracts, they are using Python and mix of other C++ programming. So all these languages are being used over there. So that is another 10 talk that we'll be having more discussion on this part. But yeah, so how do we proceed on this part? Which technology you, being in IT sector, adopt? Whether you go ahead and crazy about everything and mug up, Python, automation, artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud computing, SDN, everything. Yes, it is okay to have some good approach to all these technologies. What is happening? What is the background of each technology? What is the background of each language? It is okay to learn everything, but try to be master of at least one thing. If you find cloud computing looks to be very promising for you in terms of monetary benefit, in terms of learning, you see learning cloud computing is easy, you go for cloud practitioner exam first for AWS. Now let me give you an idea. If you are planning for to go for cloud computing, which vendor you will choose now to learn about? See, the concepts are same in all vendors, whether it's AWS, Azure, Microsoft, or Google Cloud. The concept are same, only the terminologies are different. Like, say, if we talk about AWS, they will say virtual machine as EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud. Compute capacity is available, and in Azure it's a virtual machine, and in Google it's a Google Cloud Engine. And if you talk about the DNS part, it's Route 53, and it's Traffic Manager in Azure, something different in Google. So the naming conventions are different, but the concept are same. Express Route, Direct Connect, all these sort of technology you will hear if you get into the cloud computing part. So which vendor you choose, I give you a hint. AWS is still the leader in the market of cloud computing with around 38% share. The data is given by last quarter. And Microsoft Azure is the second competitor, the big competitor, with 22% share in the market. Then we have other clouds. Google is also there. Google is also getting on the red race, and they're sharing around 12% market, and the other small vendors are already there. So that is about cloud computing. If you want to go for SD-WAN, no wonder you will think about Cisco or VeloCloud, the VMware. They are the market leader at the moment. And if you talk about the languages, which language automation part you want to learn, Ansible, Python, even learning Java will help you. So you have multiple choices, multiple opportunities. It's all up to you, what you are comfortable, what type of monetary benefit you're looking for, what type of experience do you have. If you are just coming out of your college, it's the right time to at least give one more year to study. Don't go for job first. Just try to understand what interests you more, what you are interested in more, or what technology you can grab once you are into the market. And if you are a worker, if you already have got experience, so you have to look what is the requirement within the organization, so that you get an opportunity inside, to get a good exposure. It is very easy to get absorbed internally if you are looking for some kind of automation stuff. Learn new languages, do automation, and go for it. So the best way of changing your opting for new technologies, learning new technologies, to look within your own domain. As I already said, for people those who are just coming out of the colleges, the right time to have a broader view and get idea of all these new stuff, whatever you feel comfortable with, you go for it and become master of it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and more would be coming about. In the next video I'll be talking more about cloud computing, and I'll be doing the comparison of AWS, Azure and Google Cloud, which is the best in all aspects. Is it okay to go for all three? Now that I will give you an idea from the enterprise perspective, which cloud service or cloud vendor to choose to migrate their application, to migrate their infrastructure. I mean, if I say that way. So in next video I'll be talking more precisely from the business perspective. Today I just gave you a little bit idea about how the world is changing and what is driving this change, what we are supposed to do as a human being, and what we are not supposed to do is not get into the kind of politics, what is happening around us. Stay away from the politics. Thank you so much for watching me.